moments here, guys, and share with you a couple of nuggets, I guess, that I was able to get from the San Diego iPad Summit. And I went to a session. Our first day there, my whole day was spent in a workshop on middle school and high school use of iPads. Okay? And it was really cool because we got to use a lot of different tools. But when we first came in, he had this on the wall, and this was our, right, we were supposed to get our agenda from, using your iPad there. And, let's see, at the top. Then he had this opening activity for us, where he had us take a picture of ourselves, get into Safari, and go and put in this Padlet address, and that brought us to that site that I just had up, and I'll show you it again. But here he told us here we had to put our grade or topic, our name, and then a photo of us here to kind of introduce ourselves to the whole class that we'd be spending our time with. So this is what we ended up with. So everyone, yeah, okay. We posted just a hello message kind of thing. So, I mean, you got to meet everybody here, and it was a good, quick intro. And we talked a little bit about, what you could use this tool for in the classroom. And we talked about things like you'd have the kids give you a facial expression based on their understanding or comfort level with what they're doing. So if they're at a 4, they might do like this kind of thing, take a picture of themselves. Or a 3 would be, like this, I got it. 2 might be like that, and a 1, I don't know, whatever you decided, I guess. And then you would have them write on their, just a quick note about their, or explaining, I guess, their facial expression. Another person had an idea with, that you would have everybody take a screenshot of what they were doing at that moment, and then you'd have everybody put their screenshot on here, so you would get a quick snapshot of where everybody is with whatever it was they were working on. So kind of a quick, check in with everybody, but they could upload it so that, you see it all at one time, I guess. Okay. So this is Padlet, and I had shared this very briefly last year with you, where I told you that my young adult literature class was using a Padlet to put their sources on. So instead of doing MLA format, I just have them put a link to their sources on this page, so that all I do is click on it and I see what source they used. It's just a variation. Sometimes with my young adult lit class, they are the ones who are who are not very interested, let's say, in English perhaps. So sometimes learning MLA format is, not something they're very interested in. So this is a variation, I guess, of still teaching them that you have to document your sources, but, in maybe a techie way, a different way. So then I got into my Padlet account, and Padlet is free. You just sign up with your email address, very easy. This is your dashboard. And then here's a list of the Padlets that you might have created. Based on my time in San Diego, I created a Padlet for my 7th graders. And they were getting together in their literature circles. This was the last literature circle that they did last week. And what they do in a lit circle is each one of them has a different role, and it rotates every week. So one might be a discussion director, where they come up with 2 good, juicy questions to share with the group, and then they discuss those questions based on the reading. Another one is called the literary luminary, and that person has picked out 2 small little excerpts from the reading that they want to reshare with the group, and they talk about why. Those are important parts. The third one is our word wizard. The word wizards come up with 2 words that they want to share with the group, words that they may not know or have an interesting use. And then they play a little word wizard game where everybody tries to guess what the word means. And then the 4th role is an illustrator. And that illustrator tries to put the best effort forward to draw a scene from the chunk of readings that we had. And they asked the group, you know, what is this a drawing of? Why do you think I drew it? And then they share their feelings. So that's kind of an average lit circle. Well, I always add another component. When they're all done with their roles, then they do a group activity. And it's always different every time. This time it was using their iPads. They had to, I had a link on here on my Padlet. Okay, I posted a link from the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. And again, if my kids clicked here, you can see that it's hyperlinked, so they could go right to the site itself and read it there. But I also put it here for them too, so I told them they don't have to click on that link. But again, it's kind of teaching them that this is a source. It's not something I made up myself. It's a primary source. And this is a synopsis. The top part is just a synopsis of this woman named Fritzi who went through an experience in a concentration camp. And then there's an actual excerpt there of an interview that she gave about her experience. So the kids read this on their iPads, and then I've asked them a question at the very top. I said, how does Fritzi practice resistance in her weakened state? The word resistance is one that we studied the week before, so we were looking for some carryover here and understanding what resistance means. And then I said, also, how was her experience similar to Daniel's experience? Daniel is the main character of the novel we've been reading. So trying to do some compare-contrast, which is one of our benchmarks with trying to cite your sources, or not cite, but find textual evidence implicitly and explicitly. And this would be, I was looking for implicit information, and some of the groups did a really nice job of pulling things together, like they said about finding hope. Oh, right here. I said Daniel and Fritzi had to do slave work also, both of their mothers died, and neither of them gave up hope. So again, in the book, in Daniel's story, it never says Daniel never gave up hope. It's implied that he never gives up hope because he talks about, you know, how he's going to remember and how he's going to live to be a witness and all this kind of stuff. So the kids were demonstrating that they could make some inferences by doing this. So I had the groups post together. You can see they were in their groups and answered the question. And there you go. I mean, that was just one example of using Padlet that the kids were very engaged. There is a Padlet app, but and it works because I did it on my iPad when I was in San Diego, but the presenter did say that it does work better on a laptop. It's more functional, but the kids use their iPads for this, okay, and they were fine.
But easier to create it on your computer.
Create it on the computer, yeah, I thought that was.
And just the website itself functions pretty well through the iPad. Like you can upload a picture and the stuff that Polly was showing.
So I really like it. It's easy. You know, you can. There's a variety of things I think that you can use Padlet for. Like I said, what I like about it is it's a hyperlinked site, so you can always get to the original source of the information. It teaches kids good stewardship as far as using sources and making sure they're giving credit where credit is due. And then just to give you a quick snapshot here too of some of the other things we talked about. So he had us just do these challenges and we got into groups. This was one where we added a web page to your home screen on your iPad. And really, I had never known that you could do that. I mean, what a simple thing, where you can take a web page that you want kids to go to frequently, you know, and stick it on your screen. Yeah, and I just had never known that functionality or used it before. Also, he did talk about how it is recommended that, and I don't know if we could ever do that here, but he recommends that you only use one screen of apps. That's it. You shouldn't have kids having to go through, you know, tons of screens to find the app that they need. So.
Did he put them in those little boxes or organizers, folders?
Oh. Yeah, and even there, he said, like, I don't know, is it here? He showed us an example of, he didn't have them in folders. But I mean, that's a way to get around it, since we're kind of a multi-purpose, one-size-fits-all system here. We could maybe organize them a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like a 7th grade folder, an 8th grade folder, and so on, I suppose. But I thought that was a really good recommendation. And then we talked, up here, we talked about how kids are consumers of information on an iPad, how they can curate information. And with this one, I haven't been able to actually use this yet, but one of the cool things, again, I didn't know, I mean, you all probably have seen Flipbook, or is it Flipboard? Flipboard. Okay, yeah, where it comes up with current events or whatever it is that you want. One thing you can do is you can create your own for kids to access. So if you have, you know, particular feeds that you, or articles that you want kids to read, you can put together your own Flipboard for them. And I started to do that with the Holocaust stuff, but, you know, ran out of time. And it's one of those things that I just haven't gotten back to. But during the iPad Summit, we were tinkering with that. And that, I think, is really appealing, because you can have some archived articles that you know are standards, or ones that you really want to use again and again. You know, why not put them in your own Flipboard where kids access those? Just made sense to me. And then kids can do that too, which I never thought about. And then we focused on kids creating and doing more like app smashing type things, making screencasts, using Explain Everything, which is awesome. Incorporating iMovie, and we had a challenge where we were given 10 minutes. I can't remember exactly the challenge, but there were 3 different tasks that we had to do. We had to use 3 different apps and smoosh them all together in 10 minutes. And you know, you were on the fly trying to do it, and it was really fun because we were able to do it, even though we weren't told ahead of time how to use the tools necessarily. So it was fun, challenging and fun. So I guess the one thing that I have put into practice so far would be using Padlet. But I have plans for other things.